Peace, everyone. This your girl, Miss Danny Baby, back again, hitting y'all with something real quick, albeit a little controversial. This your boy that I'm gonna bring on next is brother. He goes by the name Brother Jeremiah. I've heard him speak several times about like religion and his views and concepts on the idea of God. And before we get started with Brother Jeremiah, I just want to add that God is within. You don't necessarily need to bow and bend to the ancient concept of God. But it's okay to realize that the God force exists within you. There is a source. There's a source for all life that exist on this planet, that exists within you, that exists in your DNA. There is that little piece of stardust that is within you as a being on this planet, and we've forgotten that. There are some sects that exist where male beings, when we're talking about men, they do perceive themselves as God. When you think of certain sects and religions and whatnot, they do see themselves as God, but as a collective, they still do not. And women wholesale do not see themselves as a part of the God family. So I think that's what's missing when we're looking for healing and looking for your self-esteem, finding your meaning, existing in this realm, finding your purpose, loving the self. And when we're talking about worship, we're not talking about, when I say worship the self and seeing yourself as a god, it's not in a narcissistic, abusive, diabolical type of way. It's just knowing that you are important and that you matter in the universe. You can't do it by yourself, but you are being an important being, a high being unto yourself. You've just forgotten that. And if you want to call yourself a child of God, which is the source, you're still a God. If your daddy's or mama's last name is Williams, you're still a Williams. So you're part of the God family. So that would make you a God. So always remember that, because when you forget the importance of self, loving the self, and if you even look at the dictionary definition of worship, it's giving reverence and respect to a deity. You can see yourself as a deity of sorts, like I said, of the God family. You're not exactly source, but source is within you. A lot of people have a lot of trauma, a lot of anger, a lot of unhealed wounds. And once you recognize that Godship within the self, that'll get you on your way to being the God. And you can put a so-called gender on it. And I don't want to say so-called, because gender does exist. But when we're talking about God, a lot of people like to break it down in female and male, God, goddess. But I still say it's the God family. So both are gods. Both are children of God. Both are children of Source. So in order to make this next year a good year, a productive year, a healing year, the best you that you've seen thus yet, starting remembering that your importance, remembering to love yourself, feed yourself correctly, exercise yourself correctly, nourish yourself correctly, give sleep to your body correctly. Don't poison your body correctly, because that's what gods do. And also, as gods, you love not only yourself, but you love others of your same kind, other God children, other God bodies, other people that carry themselves as God. So remember that and love yourself and each other. Talk to y'all.
More likely to be caught if they fall. If they want to believe in this God, in this Jesus and believe in all of this stuff, they can do that because they're the ones who created all the attributes to this fantasy God in the first place so that they could colonize the world. The slave and the master cannot worship the same God. So he gave it to black people in order to make his plantation run smoother, and we're still believing. But like I mentioned, and I want to stress this, people who are on the bottom rungs of society do not have the luxury to believe in superstitious fairy tales. Once you get off the bottom and you get on top or whatever, you can do that. Because if you're caught, if you fall, you can be caught. We have to think our way out, Carl. We can't pray our way out. We have to use logic and reason and brain power. Now, if we come out of this crisis and we go right back to, I think I was talking about this guy, with this thing I was watching over one of my relatives' house, the Innocence Files. He got a hold of the Innocence Project. Both of them, one 18 years, one spent 15 years on death row. They got the Innocence Project, and the Innocence Project worked tirelessly in order to get them freed. They traveled. They used their own time. They used their own money. And when they were eventually freed by the judge, they thanked God for it. And so I'm wondering, when you do that, what incentive do you leave for me to do anything for you when you're not going to give me any of the credit anyway? There's something wrong with the people who will continue to excuse their God. Well, this prayer wasn't answered, but it wasn't God's will. It was his time to go. Well, God knows best. And what God did. You cannot continue with that same line of thought and expect to be different in what they're now naming America as America 2.0, because things have changed and things are going to be different. You can't do it. So if whites want to do that, they can do that because they'll look at their status in society, their privilege in society, and it will serve as a supreme justification for them. Oh, absolutely, God is white because we're on top. There's no way they're going to, I even saw a commercial, Carl, and I haven't watched TV and as far as, regular TV in a while, because I refuse. They had all these Christian commercials on in light of this coronavirus crisis. And one commercial had it was animated, and he had a white God. Showed his white hand, his white face. There will be many black people who will put their hands up to me and say, wait a minute, Mr. Kamara, what difference does it make? See, those are people who are 100% naive to what's called human psychology. But they would defend that type of statement to the ends of the earth. What difference does it make what color he is? You know absolutely nothing about human psychology. Now, during this crisis, Carl, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to have black folks either move farther away from their beliefs or closer to it, because psychology shows that when people are more fearful, they'll cling even tighter to their beliefs. But there are some black people who are going to say, you know what, I give up on this crap. This is my time to think about the detriments of religion, to think, why me, the prayer warrior, the person who belongs to the race of prayer warriors, why are we suffering? You got black people right now saying that the governor is opening up in order to kill black folk because we are the primary ones with bars and salons and stuff. I don't know that. I don't know But you have a choice. Your brain says that you have a choice. You do not have to go into these facilities if you disagree with the governor's decision. It's up to you. That's what a normal brain. So we want to go back to to what's normal. And I'm telling you that what we thought was normal is not even normal in the first place. What are you going back to? You want to go back to where we are on the social rungs? What are you going back to?
Thank you.